just between you and I, after that call, I've never wished for something so badly though. I mean, I'm like a perfect boyfriend.
Yeah, you know, press possession by shawty, you man.
So welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Constance Kusangaya for all of you guys that don't know me, and we go by the Connie K family or the Connie K gang on here. And hi guys to my returning subscribers, how you guys doing? I hope that you guys are doing well. So let me just fix my earring because I have a feeling like it's gonna fall. So today I decided to shoot another story time for you guys, but we're gonna have a twist on it. I'm gonna be doing my makeup while we talk about the story. So I did see that most of you guys kept requesting for story times because you guys actually enjoyed that a lot. Just wanted to see more of that for me, and honestly I do have a lot of stories to tell you guys, but it was just a matter of like deciding which stories I want to tell and which stories I want to keep to myself. So I decided to tell this story because it can help young lady out there that is being deceived, because yeah, the story also happened when I was quite young and naive. Anyway guys, let's get into the video and enjoy. So you guys, right, the story I'm gonna tell you guys, this happened to me when I was like 22, I think. So it happened when I moved to Doha. So what happened was my friends was dating a guy that was my kabayan, so basically a guy that came from my country. He was Zimbabwean, and I had met him before because they were so in love and their relationship was serious. Like, people were talking about marriage, you know what I'm saying? So I had chilled with him. So I remember it was in December, actually. It was on New Year's Eve, and I didn't have any plans, honestly, because all my friends were working on New Year's Eve and I wasn't in a relationship like that. And all my friends, actually that year it was just so weird because all my friends that did not work for Qatar Airways, they were all like out of town. They had gone back home for December holidays, which is understandable because that's what everybody does. So my friend told me that her boyfriend's cousin is coming from Zim and he's flying through Qatar and he's transiting, has a stopover actually in Qatar for a good 3 days. So this is his first night out, which was on New Year's. So do I want to like literally come out and just have, you know, dinner with him? So for me at that point, I was like, yeah, it's cool, like why not, you know? Like, I was just gonna spend New Year's Eve alone, and I was just gonna probably call my family when it's 12 o'clock, speak to them and call it a night. So obviously if you're inviting me for a chilled dinner and we're gonna have drinks, then I'm all in for it. So why not come? Like, let's do this. So I'm gonna mix these two foundations because I saw that when I mix these two foundations I get the perfect shade or the perfect coverage. So I'm gonna mix the Super Stay 24-hour full coverage foundation from Maybelline, and then I'm also going to use this Fit Me foundation New York from Maybelline. This one is in the shade Warm Hazel. I meet them up, right, for this dinner. Like, we went to a restaurant for the dinner and drinks, and guy was actually decent, you know, conversation was cool. I just went there because I was not doing anything. I didn't have intentions of like, I'm going there to meet somebody or to hook up with someone. Honestly, I was just like, oh, whatever. So when I got there, you know, and I'm having conversation with the guy, he seemed like a very nice person. And this guy was like based in Australia. He stayed in Perth and he was a pilot for Qantas, right? So basically, you know, talking aviation vibes. You know how it is when you meet other aviators, like you guys automatically click, you know, because the first thing you guys are going to talk about is aviation, and then from there, you know, conversation carries on. So at the end of the night, you know, he informed me that him and his cousin are going to be doing a barbecue tomorrow at the cousin's place, so he would really like it if my friend can bring me over for the barbecue. And I was off again, so I was like, no, I'll let you know if I'm going to be available for me to come for the barbecue. So I didn't really have anything to do, but I'm not gonna just say yes when you invite me, because like, no, you know. And most of the times when I'm off just before, or when I was off just before I go back to work, I just want to have some time where I clean and just zen and prepare myself for the week. So the fact that like I had gone out that night and then go out the previous nights, I was just like, oh, that's a bit much. But the next day my friend convinced me to come, and because it was just a barbecue, I was like, okay, I'll go, but I'm not gonna spend like literally a long time there. So, you know, went for the barbecue, spoke to the guy again, cool vibes, and that was it. The night was over. And the next day we were at work, and my friend was like, oh no, you know, the cousin is leaving today to go back to Australia, so they're inviting us to go to the souk, which is basically like a old Arabic market type of vibe, and it's got like a lot of restaurants there, different cuisines and different cultures, but mainly Arabic stuff. So I was like, okay, cool, like let's go, because I loved the souk anyway, and you know, they pipe shisha there. So, you know, we went to the souk, and I noticed that the guy had a tattoo on his arm of like 2 girls' names on there. So I don't remember the names, guys, honestly. So I asked him, I'm like, who are these people that are tattooed on your hand? And he's like, oh, those are my daughters. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So in my mind I was just like, probably he's married, because like, you know what I mean, he's a whole pilot, and I was like 22 and he was 30, so obviously he was older than me. And oh gosh, man, he just looked married. So I was like, oh, so like, oh, those are, so you're married? And he's like, no, I'm not, actually, I'm divorced. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I didn't really want to ask any further, because in my mind I was just like, nothing is really gonna happen out of the 2 of us, and he's leaving tomorrow, and I'm just out here for the vibe, so like I really don't care. But that just caught my attention, and I just asked that. So after basically like, you know, chilling with them at the souk, they dropped my friend first and they dropped me last. And as soon as they dropped me, I'm getting out of the car, and this guy just gets out of the car too, and he wants to like kiss me, and I'm just like, block, I'm not doing that. So basically they dropped me, and that incident happened. He left, and he asked for my numbers from my friend, and my friend, in her mind, she thought that me and this guy would make a cute couple, so she basically like gave him my number, and then she told me what she had done. Like, I mean, I was pissed, but then there's really nothing I can do about it, because my number has already been distributed to this person. So as soon as he arrived in Australia, like, he started texting me, and I was kind of like replying, but not that much. Then eventually, you know, like, conversation started getting interesting, and every layover that he had, you know, when he was flying, he would show me where he was going and what he was doing. So, you know, he just basically was like, yeah, sure, let's be in a relationship. So for me, it was just a bit weird, because I mean, I could go to Australia to visit him, but at that point I just didn't even want to be in like a long distance relationship. So I was just kind of a bit hesitant about it, you know. After a while of just chatting with this guy and getting to know him, I finally decided that okay, I'm gonna give it a chance and see what happens, because he kept on talking about, you know, like it's very easy for him to come and visit, obviously because he didn't need like a visa to come into Doha. And then obviously like we will plan properly for me to visit him in Australia, because I would have to apply for a visa, and that whole process just takes so much time. So he will come to me first, which was cool. So this guy like literally took a week off of work and came to visit me in Doha, and I was working, so I would like meet him every time after work because he was there for like a week. So you know what I'm saying, like everything was good, and you know like there was no indication that guy was married, but he was lying. So you know, even when he was in Australia and we would communicate, like we would communicate in his house, it wasn't that thing of like he only talks to me when he's at the airport, or he only talks to me when he has layovers, or when he's outside. He would legit talk to me when he's at his house, and he would video call me. So it was just one of those things, like whatever doubts I had about him being married, he just completely removed them, because his wife was a nurse and she worked night shifts. So it was very easy for him during the day to text me and at night to say that he's sleeping, and I wouldn't even suspect a thing. And vice versa, if she was working like night shifts, then he would text me during the night as well. It just depends if he says he's tired and whatever. So he managed to make everything make sense, you know. Week to visit me in Doha, and then after that he came for a weekend, and then my birthday was coming up, so I wanted to go to Phuket, and I had planned a trip with my friends, but everybody bailed out last minute. One of my friends had an emergency, and the others just couldn't get like the same leave days that were corresponding to mine. So I just literally told myself that, you know what, I've been wanting to go to Phuket for my birthday. This is something that's on my wish list. If my friends are not coming, then I'm just going to do this alone. So I pretty much told him that I'm gonna go by myself, and he was like, no, you can't go by yourself, I'm just so scared for your safety. Like a lot of things have happened in Thailand to a lot of female travelers that traveled alone, so I'm gonna try and get leave at work, and I am going to join you for your birthday. So I was like, okay, no, it's cool. Like, I mean, if you want to join me for my birthday, then yeah, sure, come through. But if you can't come through, like, I'm legit just going regardless of the fact, because this is something that I've wanted to do, and I'm just not going to literally postpone it, because I really didn't want to come to South Africa because I had been home like literally the previous month. So I was just like, no, I need a change of scenery, and this is where I wanted to go for my birthday for the longest time. That you know, he got his off days and he flew me into Phuket. Like, he legit paid for my ticket, and he basically just said, if you want to bring money, just bring money for the sake of bringing it, but everything is gonna be on me, even if you want to go for shopping. And he just basically asked me what is it that I wanted to do in Phuket. So when I travel, I like to see the heritage, the historical side of the country, or the historical like things of the country, because like I'm a history junkie, so it's just only fit to do that. So I told him what I wanted to do, and I asked him, is there anything he wanted to do specific, and he's like, no, this trip is about you, so like we're not even gonna worry about me. So I was like, okay, cool, no problem. So basically, like we met up in Phuket, and you know, the first day everything was going so well. Like, we got there at night, we got changed, and we went downstairs to Patong. We were at Patong Beach, so we went to that street, is it a Patong whatever, where they just have all these clubs and places. So we just went and we saw the scenery, and then we found a really nice restaurant, and we just basically had our dinner there, and then after that we just walked the streets, you know, just getting the vibes in the fields. And then after that we went back to the hotel and we slept. So the next day we were gonna go island hopping. So we just literally woke up, had breakfast or whatever. We did the island hopping, we came back, we had dinner, and we called it a night. So the next day, obviously it was shopping day. Went shopping, came back, chilled at the hotel pool, ordered food, and you know, we did quite a lot the next day. Anyway, I don't want to get into detail of what we did because that is just not even the point of the story. So fast forward to the trip ending, and we, you know, he did the most weirdest thing because I had 2 more days left of vacation. He came all the way with me to Doha. So like, obviously guys, if you are good with your geography, it's like literally Phuket, well, Thailand is literally 5 hours away from Australia, and I was like 8 hours away. So it's like you're going back. So he literally went back with me as he could have just gone home. He went back all the way and spent another 2 days with me in Doha, and then he eventually went back. So this is when shit went interesting. So let me backtrack a little bit. So this guy, as we started talking, I asked him, I'm like, okay, so are you married? And he's like, he's not. So I was like, okay, you got divorced. And then I'm like, okay, so what was the reason of the divorce? Because I just need to know this. And he told me that his wife basically cheated on him with her ex-boyfriend that she was dating before they got married. And how did he find out about this? Because they were having issues, and then they separated for a while, and when they got back together, he found out that she was having an affair with this guy when they were on their break, and all of a sudden she's now pregnant. Obviously she's now pregnant, and she obviously was like, it's your child. And he was like, okay, whatever, because they were back together. But during the pregnancy, he just felt like this child had to be the ex-boyfriend's child, because it's like, as soon as we get back together, you're pregnant. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't trust you, so I want to do DNA tests. So obviously the child was born, and he's like, she does not resemble him or resemble any child in his family. So he was just basically saying like, this child did not look like anybody in his family, and he really wanted to do DNA tests, but like obviously he didn't want to because he was still married to this girl. But the whole issue just didn't sit with him, and it kept on bothering him. So he just got to a point where he was like, listen, I need to do DNA tests for this child, because obviously, you know, you hooked up with your ex just before like we got back together or when we were separated. So I just have concern about that. So then obviously this woman, she did not want to do the DNA tests, you know. So then he was like, okay, I'm not gonna raise a child that I believe is not mine. So I think that it's for the best if we break up. So basically they broke up, and obviously she took him to court so that he can pay child support for both the kids, because he's saying that he only wanted to pay child support for one child that they had before all of this drama unfolded. Sorry guys if there's like noise in the background, like people are just so loud, and I tried to stop and wait, but then time is running out on me. So basically you know, he was just like going through the motions, because from that incident till date, as like that time when I was seeing him, she still did not want to do DNA tests, and he was just out there taking care of another man's child. Obviously this is what he was saying. Like now guys, he goes back to Australia. So obviously I know the time that he's landing. So as soon as he lands, he sends me a message on WhatsApp saying I've arrived safely. and then I'm on my way home. And after that, as soon as I tried to reply, the WhatsApp is off. So I was like, okay, maybe he has a low battery since that was a long flight. Maybe he forgot to charge his phone in the plane and he was using it, you know, for whatever, which is, I don't know, that's just what I thought. So, you know, the day gets finished and the day ends, right? And he still hasn't contacted me. So now in my mind, I was really worried, and I had one of his friends' numbers that he had introduced me to there. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna call up this guy and I'm gonna ask him like, oh, where's your homeboy, because like I'm worried, you know, haven't heard from your homeboy ever since our vacation. So I called the homeboy and I told him that I'm looking for your friend, and he's like, oh yeah, I was actually with him yesterday. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why he's not calling you, or he's not like replying to your messages. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna give him a call and tell him to get a hold of you. So I waited after that, and guy did not even get a hold of me. So I was just kind of like now having my doubts, because I was like, where could nigga be, you know? So I had this woman's name because I followed him on Facebook and I could see that she was one of his friends. So I went on his friend list, and then I found her, and then I clicked on her profile, and this woman had pictures of them and their kids, and you know, everything was just looking good, and even photo shoots they did. So I just thought like maybe she you know, still wanted to be with him, and she maybe still wanted to portray to the world that they're together. So hence why she did not remove the pictures of her profile on Facebook. So I was like, okay, so I wanted to contact her and ask her if she knew where he was, but I was like, nah man, I don't want to do that. So I texted one of my friends back here who was in SA, and I started telling her like, this is what's going on. And she's like, it's very strange. And she's like, oh, you said he stays in Perth. Well, I have a cousin that stays in Perth, and you know how it is, like one Zimbabwean knows another Zimbabwean who knows another Zimbabwean who knows who you know. So she's like, basically like, send me a picture and a full name and I'll ask around. So I did that, and she asked one of her cousins that's in Perth, and the cousin's like, fam, I know this guy, and this nigga's married. He's got 2 daughters, you know. And this story that your friend is talking about, definitely we would have known about it, but there is no such thing. So my friend comes back, and you know, she tells me about, okay, so guys, I used these 2 palettes from Huda Beauty. So this is the neon palette, which has your beautiful pinks and purplies, and then this is the rich nude, which is obviously my favorite. As you guys can see, colors are going pan. Husband is like, no, the story that your friend is saying is just definitely not true. So my friend told me about, she gets back to me and she tells me, and I'm now thinking, sorry, my brush used gold here, so I'm just gonna use pink here. So obviously like my friend, she's coming back to me and she's telling me this, and I'm devastated. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And she's like, we are going to text this lady and ask her if she knows where he is. So I literally texted her and I was like, hi, so and so's friend, I haven't seen him since last week when I was with him. He arrived safely as he said, but I haven't heard from him, and I've been contacting his friends, and you know, they keep saying they will let him call me, but like, I just want to know if he's okay. And after like 5 minutes, this chick replies back, and she's like, who are you? And I was like, she's like, who are you to him? And I'm like, oh, I'm his very good friend. And she's like, well, he's sitting right next to me, so he's doing fine. So I think at that moment she asked him who I was. Then I look on my WhatsApp, guy has blocked me. You know, he had 2 numbers on WhatsApp and I was blocked on both numbers. So I was like, okay, so this guy is really married. And then she's like, I just asked him who you are and he said he doesn't know you. And I was like, well, can you tell him if he doesn't know me, why was he in Phuket with me last week? And I can obviously send you the pictures as proof. And she went crazy. She's like, what, last week he was where? And I was like, no, he took me to Phuket for my birthday. And she's like, this guy literally just disappeared. Obviously, as the wife, like, she would know the flights that he has and the countries that he's gonna have layovers on, obviously. But she's like, this week he just honestly disappeared on me, and I knew that he was off, and I kept asking him, why do you have leave? But he was not like coming forward with me as to why he had applied for the leave. So this actually makes sense why he had leave, or why he applied for leave. So she's like, you won't believe, he literally left me with the kids. We didn't have food. I had to go to his father's house and his sister's house so that she could give me money so that I can buy diapers for my little girl. How can he do this to me? And then how can you do this to me as a woman? And I was like, okay, I didn't do anything to you. This is what happened. So I just basically told her that I met him through his cousin, who is a pilot as well for Qatar Airways. And you know, I did mention, or I did ask him, like, are you married? Because I did see 2 names of his daughters on Essay2, and he told me that he's not married. He was married, but he's divorced. I asked him, like, what is the reason for the divorce? And he literally told me that you cheated or something like that. So I literally told her what he told me, and she's like, there is no such thing as me and him being divorced, or me trying to get child support from him, because we stay in the same house and we're married, you know what I mean? So she wasn't really pissed about it, because obviously she realized that we were both being played. So she just basically now wanted information from me as to, like, so how often did you guys meet? And I just told her about, like, all the time that he has been in Doha to meet me. And she's just like, obviously your dates and everything that you're saying about him being in Doha to meet you corresponds with how I did not understand his actions, like how he would just disappear from home for like a week, and then I would find that he traveled on Qatar Airways going to Doha. But then I'm just wondering, like, is he going to see his cousin? But then if he is going to go see his cousin, then this is someone that's our relative. So why hide it, and why not be like transparent with that? So basically this lady, she was just honestly like heartbroken. So I just honestly stopped talking to her, because I was just like, okay, I'm just adding on to whatever she might be feeling or she might be going through. But at least I got the closure. At least now I know what's going on with this person, and like, if they are to contact me again, I'm never ever gonna talk to them ever in life. So like, plot twist, guys. So like, literally now the sister is the sister asked me, how did you meet him if you say that you stay in Doha? Because now the sister, his sister, started contacting me, and she was like, no, I heard from my sister-in-law that, you know, you are with my brother and you were with him that one week he disappeared, and we were so worried and looking about him, well, so worried and looking for him. She told me that you were actually together and you guys went out of the country, or like you guys went for vacation at some place. So I just want to know, like, what are your intentions? You know, why are you telling her this information? And I was like, honestly, I was just telling her this information because, wow, my butt hurts from sitting on here. So I would just say, like, I'm telling her this information because, like, I did not even know that this person was married, and I invested my time and feelings in this, and I just needed closure. And honestly, I just wanted him to pay. Like, you can't you can't just be out child playing people and not have consequences, if I say that right. No consequences for your actions. So it's okay for you to come and lie, and then next thing you're gonna go around with your life like everything is okay. We're not gonna do that. So obviously it just happened that, you know, I found out the truth and I wanted to confirm, and then once it was confirmed, I decided that I'm just gonna tell everybody what happened, because obviously he's never gonna admit that whatever that happened between us is true. So I'm out here just letting you guys know, but I don't have intentions of wanting him back or of wanting to be in a relationship with him. Like, I don't care. And then the sister was just basically like, okay, cool, I understand, I'm so sorry that you got deceived, that type of thing. So they were really nice to me. They were not really hostile, because they realized that, you know, me and this woman are both victims. And I always feel like women should honestly approach situations this way, because majority of the time that like your man is cheating on you, he's cheating with someone that actually doesn't even know that you exist. I mean, sometimes, you know, they will know that you exist, but majority of the time they don't know. So if you find out such information, like, it's just pointless you attacking the other woman, because you are attacking someone that doesn't even know what is happening, someone that is just shocked and trying to process. The person that you are supposed to be talking to and checking is that man of yours, because obviously he knows that you are in his life. So why the hell would he put you in a position where you now have to fight other women if he clearly like loves and cherishes and cares for you? Like, that's just dumb, you know? So basically they didn't attack me, they just basically were like, okay, so like, are you willing to talk to our dad and tell him everything? And I was just like, okay, I need to draw a line with these people, because now I'm gonna be dragged into this whole big thing, and that is honestly what I don't want. So I was like, no, with all due respect, like, I think that whatever that we have spoken about, like, I've said my part. We both know how we were being played by this guy, but I just feel like we shouldn't go any further as to like me speaking to people's dads. Like, listen, I was like, I can't do that, you know? So then like the sister didn't know how we met, so I think like she was just she didn't know. I don't think like the wife told her how me and him met. So she just asked me, she's like, okay, so how did you and my brother meet? And I met him through his cousin so and so, who is a pilot at Qatar Airways, and this guy is dating my friend. And the sister just brought her a bomb. I know you guys can guess what the sister said. The sister is like, but my cousin's married. And it's like, what? So the same guy that was dating my friend was married. So you guys need to understand, like, these guys aren't old. These guys are like in their 30s, and they have just like, you know, they're young, and obviously they're flying for these airlines, and obviously, you know, like, there's just girls all over every single time. And you know, the guy that was dating my friend, his wife was not staying in Doha, she was literally staying in Zim. So obviously that is just a given, you know, playground for him to do whatever that it is he wants to do. So she was really shocked about that, as to like, what do you mean that this guy introduced you to? I mean, he's married. And I was like, okay, listen, this is new information. So obviously I contacted my friend and I told her that, babe, this is what happened, I'm actually speaking to them right now, and it happens that your bae is married too. And she was like, wow, this is insane. So obviously she confronted him, and he did not deny. He legit said, I am married, you know, but what to do, my wife ain't here and I need some loving. So obviously their relationship ended, because we're not the type of girls to do that type of bullshit. So like, you know, I just told them that, you know, like, guys, I'm just gonna remove myself from the situation because I'm not trying to like break anybody apart, because that's just not who I am, and I'm just not about to do that. But I just needed to know what is going on because this person deceived me, you know, like he was serious about me. So yeah, so I'm not going to be answering any further questions about whatever that was happening. So obviously the sister went and told the cousin's wife, the one who had introduced us, that this is what happened, and it also happens that, you know, your man is like included in this, so he's also cheating. So a few days later, I get a message on my Facebook, and it's from the cousin's sister, and she's like, hi, how are you? So I didn't even want to disclose my friend's name to them because I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So they were like, oh, so like, you the one that said this and this? And I was like, yeah, I did say this and this, because obviously like it's true. Why the hell would I lie? And she's just basically like, oh no, because everybody is just like going crazy, everyone is just hurt about what you're saying, you need to stop saying these things. And I was like, listen, you're not gonna come and try to check me and try and tell me that I need to stop saying things like 1 2 3 4 5. This is the situation, this is what's happening, this is what your brother and his cousin have done. So you're not gonna come and check me, because me and my friend are victims. We didn't even know that this person is married, so you should not even come and check us. You should go and check him, go and check them, because at the end of the day, they know that they're married, they know that they have wives. So if you're gonna come and lie to people that you're not married, and then obviously you put up a really good front that you're not, and then people believe you, and then when the truth comes out, you guys want to come in and attack us, then definitely like you guys are gonna have a problem like this in the future. Guys are just gonna keep cheating on them continuously with a lot of girls, because their work allows them to be around a lot of females. So for them to cheat, it's just going to be something that is gonna be really easy to do if they don't get checked about it. Like it was like a month that this guy had still blocked me, and you know, we were not talking. And honestly, I was just still like shocked that such a thing like this has happened to me, but I was just like over him and just didn't even like care at all, and I was just moving on with my life. So then after that, like a month later, I get a message, and it's from an Australian number, and it's none of the numbers that he uses. So obviously for me, I have cousins that are in Australia, but like I have their numbers. So in my mind, I didn't even think it was him, because I wasn't even thinking that it was him. I didn't even want him to call. I wasn't even waiting for such a phone call from him or a message from him or whatever. So I was really quite shocked as to like who is contacting me. And it happened to be him. And I was just like, okay. And he was just basically apologizing and saying he wants to be with me. He's left his wife to finalize the divorce, and he wants to be now with me, and we should plan about getting married, and I should plan leaving Qatar so that I can move to settle with him in Australia. And I just laughed, guys. I was like, this guy's a joke. I told him, I was like, listen, I'm not even gonna do this nonsense with you, because you're just an ass, okay? So just stop texting me, go find another girl that's gonna believe your lies, because I'm just not in the mood. I've got like bigger things to worry about in my life. I don't have time to play with boys who think that they're men. So basically, after having that conversation with him, obviously he kept on trying to like, you know, talk to me, and then eventually I just blocked him, and then I never heard from him ever again till this day. That is the end of the story time. So I know it was a bit interesting and so juicy that you're like, oh my god, but for me, I thought that I should tell that story so that any girl that's out there that is being deceived or that is young, I feel like if you are to meet someone that has some sort of like background in terms of like their life that just doesn't make sense, I feel like you should trust your gut instincts. If it tells you that something is wrong or something doesn't make sense, you should trust it, because majority of the time your gut instinct is always right and it doesn't lie to you. Hence why we have it, because it's always trying to show you and tell you that something is not okay. But other than that, guys, please let me know in the comment section below what you thought about the story, and if you guys found it really interesting, and if you would like me to do another story time. But I don't think I'm gonna be doing a story time anytime soon, because obviously like I'm trying to switch up this content so that you guys can enjoy everything that I have to offer. But please make sure you guys share my content and get your friends, your family, and your loved ones to follow me so that we can grow our family and just do great things, you know what I mean. Other than that, make sure that you are subscribed, you like this video, and you comment, and make sure that you turn on your notification bells so that you guys can get notified every single time that I upload a video, and that is every single Wednesday or Thursday. Honestly, at this point, Wednesday or Thursday, but definitely I will be out here trying to get this content for you. Maybe another week, or maybe I might skip a week. It's because things are pretty hectic for me. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. Take care of yourselves, be safe, and spread love to everybody in the world, because we are going through the most. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.